सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। On this auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima, which is celebrated on the day of Sage Vyasa's birthday. Sage Vyasa was born on the Paurnami of Ashada month. So today is the Paurnami of the Ashada month, which is his birthday. So we celebrate this day as Guru Purnima, meaning Guru's day. Like we have days for everyone, we celebrate this day for the Guru. The most important thing in life is knowledge. We need clarity. We need direction. As human beings, we need to live our life based on knowledge. And that knowledge has come from the Guru Parampara. Initially, they had no printing machines, nothing to type it out in the books and give it to us. So it was all given verbally. So then the Guru gave it to Shishya. The Shishya internalized the knowledge. Then he passed it on to another Shishya. Like that, this Guru Parampara has brought this knowledge to us. So we bow down with gratitude to the entire Guru Parampara on this day for giving us this knowledge. And all that they gave in the knowledge in the Vedas, Veda in fact means knowledge. Veda means knowledge. And the end portion of Veda contains the Upanishads. So the Ant Bhag of Veda, called Vedanta, is nothing but the Upanishads, which gives the philosophy of life and living. So in the Vedas, they have given us what are the fundamental elements of right living. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is there. The same thing has been given to us in English by Swamiji in the book Vedanta Treatise, The Eternities. It is there in the 4th chapter of the book Vedanta Treatise called the Code of Living. There he talks about these elements of right living. So the word Guru literally means dispeller of ignorance, dispeller of darkness. What dispels darkness? Light alone can dispel darkness. So Guru, in other words, is nothing but light. Guru is the personification of knowledge. So when we pay our obeisance to a Guru, it is not that we are doing it to the personality. We are doing it to the knowledge upon which the entire personality of the Guru stands. So we surrender at the feet of the Guru. Feet represents the truth in which he is established. And wherever he goes, whatever he does, it is only expression of the truth. So we bow down our head with devotion to the entire Guru Parampara, and we take this opportunity to discuss this topic, elements of right living. Now when you say right living, what is right living? Right living is nothing but living underlined by knowledge. When your living is underlined by ignorance, it is wrong living. When the living is underlined by knowledge, it is right living. And knowledge that is brought about through investigation of life, world, human personality, individual, etc. In fact, the entire Vedas or Vedanta and the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, analyzes the individual, then analyzes the world. Who is the individual? What is the nature of the individual? And what is the nature of the world. How to relate with the world. How should an individual relate with the world? So after understanding, after gaining this knowledge, we should relate with the world. Then it will be right living. Otherwise, it is just a herd instinct or an impulsive contact that we establish with the world. That is not going to take us to the fundamental goals that we seek in life. There are certain things that we seek in life. All of us, anywhere in the world, there are only few things that we all seek. Globally, universally. Right? What is that we seek? First thing we all seek is freedom. Independence. Not even a child likes to be told what to do, what not to do. You tell a child, don't stand on one leg. In South India, they used to do this. Sometimes children stand on one leg. So the adults used to say, don't stand on one leg. So in front of the adults, they will stand on both the legs. As soon as they go that side, they'll immediately stand on one leg. Nobody likes to be told what to do, what not to do. Because we are essentially free. Our original self is Atma, which is essentially free. So therefore, deep inside us, we do not want to be dependent. We do not want to be told what to do, what not to do. We seek freedom. And then we all seek happiness, isn't it? Whether we do something or we avoid something, it is only to get happiness. When you find out that something will provide you with happiness, you will court it. When you believe that something will take you away from happiness, you will avoid it. Isn't it? That's all we are doing from the time we are born till the time we die. So all of us are seeking happiness. Then all of us want to be dynamic in life, energetic, dynamic, and then peace, prosperity, success, harmony. These are the few things that we all seek. So if our approach to life is based on the scriptures, Shastra, which is given to us by the Gurus, what did they do? All they did is they put their life itself as a research, isn't it? And they found out the truths of life and they have handed it down to us. These are Sanatana Dharma, eternal principles. They are applicable at all times. These are not some opinion of some people which is applicable only at particular time for set of people. These are all Sanatana Dharma that is given in our Vedas, in the body of knowledge. So these are the few things that we are all seeking. Freedom, happiness, peace, success, prosperity, harmony, etc. Right? So if we lead the life correctly, rightly, we should be able to achieve this. We should be going through this as we are living, and we should be able to achieve this as well. But, like in the poem, Pineapple and the Bee, William Cooper says, folly the spring of thy pursuit, disappointment thy result, thy fruit. Folly the spring of thy pursuit, disappointment thy fruit. In other words, if the pursuit begins wrongly, like they say in Tamil, Mudal Konal, Mutrum Konal. If in the beginning itself things start wrongly, everything will be wrong. See, I remember when I was in my 7th standard in school, we had one Tamil group, Tamil Kalagam they used to call it, a society, Tamil society. So we were having a function in the evening, and we were supposed to invite all the other teachers, but the main teacher will be Tamil teacher for that occasion. So few students went to invite all the other teachers. So one student, when he was talking to our English teacher, he said in Tamil, "Sir, today evening we are having the program." He said, "Will you come?" He should have said, "You please come, you're most welcome. You should come and honor us." Instead of that, He just casually, he didn't mean it that way. In Tamil, variyingala. Variyingala means will you come? You know, instead of saying vanga, means you should come, welcome. And that's it. You know, the teacher took offense and then many things went wrong and somehow we had to manage and start the event. So, like they say, mudal konal, mutrum konal. How you begin. That is very, very important. How you begin. Isn't it? So, if we begin our life unquestioned, without any thinking, unquestioned, mechanically, with herd instinct, we just follow what the others have been doing. Then our life is driven by ignorance. It is not driven by knowledge. And we have when we say ignorance is not, I don't know. Ignorance here is, I have wrong knowledge. Please understand the difference. Josh Billing says, the trouble with most folks is not so much their ignorance, but their knowing so many things which ain't so. The trouble with most folks is not their knowing. It's not so much their knowing, but it is what? It is not their ignorance. Sorry. The trouble with most folks is not their ignorance, but their knowing so many things which ain't so. The trouble with most folks is not their ignorance. I don't know is not the problem. Then what is the problem? I know. So today, I have a certain knowledge about myself. We never question it. From childhood, everybody has been calling you with a name. So you think you are that name. Right? They say that black fellow, that fair fellow. So you think you are that color, that short fellow, that tall fellow, etc., etc. So you think you are this body. You have a certain knowledge about yourself and you don't question it. So all of us have a certain assumption about ourselves and we take it for granted. We think that is me. Right? So with that wrong understanding of ourselves, we begin our life. We establish contact with the world. And then we blame the world for not getting freedom, for not getting happiness, for going through stress and strain, not getting peace, for not getting prosperity, or even if we get prosperity, not able to enjoy it. For all this, we blame the world, not understanding that we have a completely foolish and wrong understanding about ourselves. At least doubt, maybe my understanding about myself is wrong. No, we haven't questioned it. We have accepted it for granted. We are clear that I am this name, I am this form, I am this height, I am this weight, I am this sex, I am this creed, I am this color, I am this caste, I am this community, etc. Unquestioned. That is ignorance. That's why I quoted William Cooper, folly, the spring of thy pursuit, disappointment, thy fruit. So the very spring is wrong. The very beginning is wrong. I am assuming myself to be this limited individual, then I am contacted. So I am thinking myself to be just this body, just this mind, just this intellect. Beyond this, I have no idea about myself. And this body, mind, intellect complex together, put together, is the ego. Isn't it? So with the body, when the life is driven by ignorance, with the body, we are seeking bodily pleasures. Because I am thinking myself to be limited. When I think I am limited, I want to feel complete. Paripurna. I am incomplete now. I want to feel complete. So my thoughts run towards the world. Especially at the physical level, I am seeking pleasures through the body. Then through the mind, I am seeking various emotional joys, satisfactions, ecstasy. Then through the intellect, I am seeking intellectual delights, knowledge, information, satisfy my curiosity. I want to know what is happening in my brother-in-law's house. I would like to know when Salman Khan is going to get married, if at all he is going to get married or not. Because I'm curious, right? So all I'm doing in my life is seeking bodily pleasures, emotional joys, intellectual delights. And with my ego, I am involved in power play. Name, fame, power, position, etc. That's all I'm doing. But what we don't understand is, all these come under what category? What category? Coming and going category. Agama payinaha. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payinaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Beautifully Sri Krishna says in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse number 14. Agama payinaha anityaha. Means what? They come and go. They come and go. So the bodily pleasures that we seek, they come and go. They can't give us that fulfillment. They can't give us that security that we are seeking. You understand? Similarly, emotional joys, they come and go. They can't give us that fulfillment. They can't give us that satisfaction. They can't give us that paripurnatvam. How can something finite give us paripurnatvam, completeness, a sense of completeness? Not possible. So any number of addition of the objects which are infinite in our life is not going to bring in limitlessness, is not going to bring in completeness. All we are doing is going on adding, going on adding, going on adding. Right? So addition is wrong way of living. Adding is a wrong way of living. Then what is it? Losing is the right way of living. Losing what? Losing the stupid or foolish notion about myself. Through what? Through the right knowledge. You understand? Through the right knowledge. So, right living is losing. Right living is losing. Wrong living is adding. Because of my stupid understanding or foolish understanding about myself, thinking that I am limited, what am I doing? I am going on adding. So for what I lack, I am making up. When I lack beauty, I need makeup. Isn't it? So when I am lacking inside, I am making it up with the outside world. But I really cannot make it up. It's not possible. It is impossible to make it up with the outside world. We never understand that. Because we are courting everything with, ignorance. With this understanding that I am this limited self. So the scriptures, the gurus through the scriptures, explain to us what our composition is, personality is. There's a very interesting shloka in the 13th chapter of the Gita. 13th chapter of the Gita is entitled as Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. The yoga of distinction between Kshetra, the field, and Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. So there, in shloka number 27, he says, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jaggamam kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi bharata rishabha. He says, whatever being is born, moving or unmoving, O Bharata Rishabha, O bull among Bharata race. He is addressing Arjuna, Sri Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Bharata Rishabha, bull among the Bharata race. O Arjuna, know that to be the union of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Field and knower of the field. In other words, Prakriti, nature, and Purusha, the consciousness. Kshetrajna is nothing but the consciousness. In fact, in one of the shlokas in the beginning of this chapter, he says, Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharat. I am that one consciousness that pervades this entire field. Means in the variety of beings. The consciousness is one. So, a human being is composed of what? A physical body, mind, intellect, enlivened by Atma, the self, consciousness. A human being is composed of a physical body, mind, intellect, enlivened by Atma in Sanskrit, self in English, or consciousness or pure consciousness in English. So we are a combination of what? Spirit and matter. We are a combination of spirit and matter, all of us. We are a composite personality, right? But unfortunately, we have no idea about the consciousness. We have only idea about the body, mind, intellect. So we are this combination. Now the Shastras come and tell us, in this combination, if you probe, if you inquire, you will understand that you are actually just the pure consciousness. Not this body, not this mind, not this intellect. You are just the pure consciousness. That's what you are. That's what the Shastras tell. So, as a personality, we are what? Body, mind, intellect, enlivened by self or the pure consciousness. Per se, body, mind, intellect are insentient. What is the body made up of? 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space. Are these elements conscious by itself? Do they have sentiency? Yes or no? Don't shake your head. You know, when I was working before joining Vedanta, before getting into Vedanta, it was about 30 years ago. I used to work in a company. We used to deal with a lot of foreign products, electronic engineering products. So we represented one company from Denmark. So sometimes some representatives from Denmark used to come. With them we used to travel in India and then meet our customers. So his name was Christiansen. I don't know whether he will remember. I definitely remember his name for this reason. Because when we were sitting and having a one-on-one meeting, he is asking something, I used to shake my head. You know, because adat, habit. So I used to shake my head like you did just now. So he said, he's the one, he couldn't pronounce my name, Lakshmi Narayanan. So he's the one who named me as PLN. And that stuck even today. You understand? So he said, PLN, don't shake your head. I'm not able to understand whether you are saying yes or no. Say yes or no. So thanks to Christiansen, you know, he is also my guru that way, you know. So on this day I am remembering him. So he said, don't shake your head. Say yes or no. So you also say yes or no when I ask something. Don't shake your head because I don't know. Then you will say yes, that's what I said. That's why I shaked it like that only. You understand? I'll have to understand it that way. So the point is, we think we are this body, we are this mind, we are this intellect, we are this limited personality. With this understanding, we are contacting. That's the fundamental mistake. When that is not corrected, how much ever you improve the world, nothing is going to become better in your life. There is the quality of life is not going to improve. So the quality of your life is directly proportional to the perception that you have about yourself. Please understand this. The quality of your life is directly proportional to the perception you have about yourself. I'll explain this with an example. Britishers invaded our country, right? And many of us in this country believed when they invaded that we are slaves, they are masters. That was the thinking. But few freedom fighters in the beginning, they said, listen, we belong to this country. This is our land. We are masters. You are taking from us. You are slaves. We are giving. You are taking. The way they were thinking about themselves was different. And they had that conviction which they were able to communicate to the others, and then it became a great freedom movement. And then the Britishers had to leave. So everything starts off with your thinking. Please understand that. A human being is a thinking animal. If you lose the thinking, we are literally animals. Hey, he is a party animal. Some people say, what do you mean party animal? I didn't get that. Some people talk like that. Party animal. So if we lose the thinking, we are worse than animals. We are really worse than animals. So, therefore, thinking is very important. How I perceive myself. Do I perceive myself as the consciousness which is limitless, which is everywhere, which is the same in every being, infinite, complete, paripurna, or am I perceiving myself as this body, mind and intellect? So first we need to correct this. That's why the parents, especially in those days, the father used to take the child to the Guru. We say no, Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Mata only has to tell us who is your father. So Mata introduces you to the father. Then father, those days, used to introduce you to the Guru. The Guru used to introduce you to the Devam. Devam means what? That illuminating reality that is within. You understand? The illuminating reality within. Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. So we don't understand that today. So when we change our perception about ourselves, the quality of life changes. So first thing we need to understand is, if we really want to improve our life's quality, we need to improve or change our thinking. Completely have a different perspective about ourselves. Then the way you run your business, the way you run your daily routine, everything will be different. In the sense, you will be continuing to do the same thing, but you will do it as a master, not as a slave. You will not do it with superiority. You will do it with equality. So, therefore, we are this composite personality, but when we probe deeply, essentially, we are the reality. So, as composite personality, the body, mind, intellect, enlivened by consciousness, we are having 4 different personalities, which are physical personality, emotional personality, intellectual personality and spiritual personality. See, physical body is housed with 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. And mind is the seat of emotions, desires. Intellect is the reasoning faculty, discriminating faculty. And intellect can be divided into 2. It's called as subtle intellect and gross intellect. Gross intellect is when our discrimination is within the realm of the world. When the discrimination is between the terrestrial and the transcendental, it is by the subtle intellect. The discrimination between the terrestrial and the transcendental is done by the subtle intellect. The discrimination within the world, within the terrestrial world, is called gross intellect. You get it? So when we function through organs of perception and action, we are physical personality. When we function through feelings, emotions, we are emotional personality. When we function through the intellect, gross intellect, we become thinkers, thinking personality. When we function through the subtle intellect, we become contemplator, spiritual personality. You understand? So, what are the personalities? Physical, emotional, intellectual and spiritual. Right? So, we need to understand all this. All this is taught to us by the Guru Parampara, through the Vedas, through the Gita, etc. So, when we understand this, after understanding, we have to start living. And when you say life, can there be life without action? Action is the insignia of life. Inaction is death. One of the favorite sentences Swamiji often makes. Action is the insignia of life, inaction is death. In the river, the water is continuously flowing. Therefore, there is life. You can produce electricity. You understand? If the water stagnates, what will happen? It will get putrefied. It won't be useful for you to drink, isn't it? And there won't be any life possible to survive in that. So there has to be constant flow. So after having understood this knowledge, we have to start acting. Action is the insignia of life. Inaction is death. In fact, in the book Vedanta Treatise, there is this chapter called exigency of action. I told you, the book Vedanta Treatise, the Eternity, is written by my Guru. In fact, it's one of the main books that he has written. He took almost 20 years to write that book. He himself calls it as a treatise, meaning it's a composition of all the knowledge presented in the Vedanta. He says nothing is mine. Only the screenplay is his. Like today's screenplay only is mine. Story is Swamiji's, Guru's. So, in that book, there's a chapter 5, which he calls as exigency of action. What does exigency mean? Exigency means emergency, urgency. Because there is so much of talk about how to live and all that, but when it comes to living, we seldom act. You understand? Therefore, we must understand, action is the insignia of life, inaction is death. Without action, it's not possible to live. And when we live, we can have either the attitude of giving or attitude of taking. There are two attitudes that we have. One is attitude of giving and the other is attitude of taking. When we lead our life driven by ignorance, thinking that I am finite, I am lacking, I am incomplete, will I have attitude of taking or attitude of giving? Attitude of taking. When I understand that I am full, I am that consciousness which is the same in every being, paripurna, complete, lacks nothing, what will I have? The attitude of giving. Not that I want to give with a desire to give. To have a desire to give is also a lack. Because if I have a desire to give, for example, supposing I have a desire to give this talk, and when I come here, nobody is there, I'll get agitated. Why? Because I have a desire to give. You understand? So, attitude of giving is not that you have a desire to give. You understand that it's your obligation to give. See, from the time we are born, we have been constantly receiving oxygen, gravitational force is functioning. As soon as we are born, mother's milk is available. Oxygen is available in plenty. Gravitational force is functioning. Meticulously the seasons change. Due to our wrong way of living, we have disturbed the nature. Otherwise, meticulously the rain comes for those few days. It's all necessary. Nature takes care of us. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 11, it's one of the most important shlokas in the third chapter. Third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Karma Yoga. He says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyas paramavapsyata. He says, may you nourish gods. Nourish the gods with this and may those gods nourish you. Nourishing one another, you shall attain supreme good. Shreya. What is good for you? What we are seeking, freedom, happiness, all this is what is good for us. He says, you will get that. When you will nourish gods. Meaning what? When you align with the ecology. The entire ecosystem is functioning meticulously, giving us. Plants are giving oxygen. Right? Rain comes and gives us water. Right? Everything is meticulously functioning. So we have an obligation to give back. The universe is interdependent. Please understand this. Like we are dependent on the plants for oxygen, plants are dependent on us for carbon dioxide. We are all interdependent. Parasparam bhavayantaha. We have to nourish each other. So we have an obligation to give. It's our duty to give. So we should have the attitude of repayment. He is best amongst us who is best in repaying. Apparently this is said by Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad is supposed to have said, he is best amongst us who is best in repaying. Repaying means what? That attitude I have to give. So therefore, our action has to be underlined with this clear understanding that I have to give. I have to give. Life is to give, nothing else. So in the same chapter 3, verse number 12, he says, those who do not give, he calls them as a thief. He says, Ishtan bhogan hiv o deva, dasyante yajna bhavitaha, tair dattana prada aibhyaha, yobumte stena eva saha. Stena eva saha. He is like a thief. One who consumes without contributing. One who takes without giving. Is a thief, he says. What happens to the thief? He cannot sleep in the night because he goes to work. He goes to steal. Will he sleep in the morning? He cannot. Why? Because in the morning, if he sleeps, they may come and catch him. And he cannot have one address. So he cannot have Aadhaar card. You understand? If he has Aadhaar card, he will be caught. Because you have to give fingerprint, all that. So he will be caught. So he cannot have Aadhaar card. He cannot have one address. He has to constantly shift his base. So a thief means what? Would have lost his peace. So that's what he's saying. One who only takes without contributing is like a thief. Meaning your peace would be robbed from you. You cannot be peaceful. You understand? And when you are not peaceful, what kind of peace can you bring in the outside world? So he says, verily the gods nourished by sacrifice will give you the desired enjoyments. He who enjoys what is given by them without having offered to them is verily a thief. Therefore, after having understood all this, the very first element of right living that the Shastras give us at the physical level, at the gross level first. Physical body is grosser compared to the mind. Mind is grosser compared to the intellect. So first, whatever we need to implement at the physical level. And at the physical level, what is the first element of right living? Service. What is service? Service is nothing but action minus selfish ego. Service doesn't mean you have to go and dig a well for some villagers. If you can do that, please do. You have to go and start one school. You can do all that. But anything and everything can be converted into service. Your action of sweeping the house can be converted into worship. Work converts itself into worship when the selfish ego is removed out of it. When the selfish ego is removed out of it. When the selfish ego is attached to work, it ceases to be service. It ceases to be worship. It is laborious, strenuous, painful, causing stress and strain. You just take away the ego. Work becomes worship. Then it's not you doing it, divinity doing it through you. When we come and sit to give this talk, we chant that Om Sahana Bhavatu. In the end, we say Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we think of the Guru Parampara for a minute. Then we dissolve, even if there is any little bit of ego left there. You understand? Then it is the Guru talking, not you. The Guru Parampara talking through you. Wherever the ego comes, the mistake comes. You understand? So work, action minus selfish ego is service. So whatever you are doing on a daily basis, you continue doing. All you need to do is what? Understand that you are a spoke in the wheel of life. Everyone has to supplement and complement each other. With that awareness, a tremendous gratitude follows, and we support our action with that gratitude. That is service. That's all. Whatever you do, doesn't matter. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam, says the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yat karoshi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give, everything you give it as an arpanam to me. You understand? When you do that, it becomes worship. So worship doesn't mean only when you go to the temple and then do some puja. Without going to the temple, you can do worship here. Right? So this is the first element of right living. So when we function in the spirit of service and sacrifice, what happens? We rise above the desires. When we rise above the selfish desires, selfish demands, the objects get attracted to us. See, whenever you lose ego, things get attracted to you. Take the example of a child, small child. I don't know what is your definition of child. Sometimes 9-year-old also you call as child. Some people sometimes when we do this parenting retreat or seminar, they say, sir, I have a question. Okay, what is it? How to deal this problem with my child? How old is your child? 25. He is not a child anymore, that fellow. You understand? So, when we say child, a 2-year-old, 1-year-old child is very innocent. The ego is still not manifest in the child. So what happens when you leave that child anywhere? Supposing you brought your child or grandchild to this lecture, and everybody who's come before the lecture, everybody who's come would like to go and play with the child. Like that they keep doing, right? What happens is, they also lose the ego. You go to the office and do to-do like that with your boss, he'll send you, understand? You don't do it externally, but internally you lose the ego. Don't do that to-do and all. Okay? But you have to lose the ego. You have to become the child. In that sense, you have to become childlike, not childish. Childishness is different, childlike is different. So, a child, when the child is left there, everybody gets attracted to the child. Why? The child has no ego. Anybody who is constantly demanding, give me this, give me that, Arey Baba, you didn't give me this, you didn't give me that. Nobody wants to see that fellow. By chance you see that fellow in a little distance, you will cover up yourself with some towel or something and go away. Because this fellow will ask something else today. And you want to give away everything from your pocket to somebody else. Because that fellow is only interested in taking, not in giving. Isn't it? So therefore, when you act in the spirit of service, you rise above your selfish demands, your selfish needs, you rise above the desires, then the object of desire seeks you. Everything will be at your beck and call. That is what Jesus Christ said. Knock and it shall be opened. Seek and it shall be given. Knock means not ask. Knock means knock the door of the heaven within. He says, no, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Knock that door. Knock the door of the self. Rise yourself to that height and then deliver your actions. Knock and it shall be opened. Seek and it shall be given. Not seek the material objects. Seek the divinity. Seek the truth. Seek the reality. Everything will be at your beck and call. If you want to try it out, let me see whether this works. That means you've really not risen about. Then it will not work. When you genuinely lose it, then it will work. See, who doesn't want to become a Christ? Everybody would like to be a Christ. Because Christ is worshipped. But you have to be ready to pay the price of crucifixion. Christ's crucifixion symbolizes the crucifixion of ego only. When Jesus Christ was crucified, it symbolizes the crucifixion of ego. That we do not want. I will keep my ego. You understand? So therefore, to achieve success, prosperity, peace, everything that we discussed that you are seeking, what is that you have to do? You have to gain the knowledge, rise above the false ego, and then do your action. Then it becomes service. The next element of right living is at the mind level, emotional personality. What is that? Love. Love is the next element of right living, second element of right living. Now, when you understand that it is the same pure consciousness that is the essential nature of every being in this universe, right? Then you understand that you and everyone are one and the same. So love is nothing but a feeling of oneness, identification. Love means identification, a feeling of oneness. You identify with the other person. You find a common denominator. You have a common denominator with your children and grandchildren. Why? Look at his nose. His nose is like mine, no? Don't you think his cheek is like mine? I don't know whether his cheek is like you, he is cheeky as you are. You understand? So, in other words, some common denominator we identify with. Right? So, at the body level you identify with, and then you identify with your family. This body came from the same parents as my brothers. So, I identify with my brothers, my sisters, my parents, and their siblings, etc., etc. So our attachment is at that level. At what level? Body level. Because we have not been able to see the common denominator beyond the body. Similarly, emotions. Similarly, intellect. Same ideas we share. You know, we all go to the same class. But that fellow goes to a different class. He goes to a different guru. Katti. I don't talk to you. Externally I talk, but internally katti. You understand? So what it means is, you are not able to go beyond a certain limited boundary. Scriptures help you to go beyond that boundary. You then start seeing the pure consciousness. Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. It is that one kshetrajna, the pure consciousness, that is the center, that is the core of every being. That is the real personality or self of every being. So when I understand that, then I have come to that common denominator beyond which there is no common denominator. Then I see the entire world as one. Everything is Vasudeva Kutumba. We are all one family. You understand? That feeling is called love. Only if you have that feeling of love, you can attract cooperation. Without that cooperation, you cannot be successful. Swamiji talks about 3 C's, no? Concentration, consistency, cooperative endeavor. Concentration you can, consistency you can, but cooperative endeavor will come to you only if you have love. If you have attachment, it will not come. So what is this attachment? There is a clear difference between love and attachment, but we don't understand that. We understand attachment as love. We understand attachment as love. In the Bhagavad Gita, this he calls as tamasic intellect. Tamasic intellect is perverted intellect. Understands everything ulta. Attachment as love. It will understand. Love as attachment. So, what is love? Love is nothing but a feeling of oneness. And that comes when you have the knowledge of your true self. See, knowledge and understanding brings love. And when you have that identification, love, then you can do service. You understand? Otherwise you can't do service. So that's why to build love in us, the more and more understanding, our understanding has to evolve, expand. Then our identification expands beyond the boundaries of our body, mind and intellect. Swami Ramtita says, your home should be the center and not the boundary of your affection. Today what has happened is, our home has become the center of our affection. Beyond that, we can't think. He says, you have an obligation with reference to your home. You have an obligation with reference to your children. You were one of the reasons for the child to be born in this world. So you have an obligation to your children, no doubt. But what prevents you from having the feeling of oneness with everybody else? Why should it be restricted only to your children? Or only to your spouse, only to your family? So therefore Swami Ramtita says, your home should be the center and not the boundary of your affection. That is the second element of right living at the emotional level, called love. So what is attachment? What is love? Love, when it is polluted by selfishness, it is attachment. When you remove the selfishness from attachment, it becomes love. That's all. Love plus selfishness equals attachment. Attachment minus selfishness equals love. Simple. Simple to say. Understand? Difficult to implement. Why difficult? Because we haven't done the thinking. We have borrowed the thinking from the scripture. Whatever we have studied, we have to sit and reflect. Then make that understanding our own. When we make that understanding our own, then we will be able to identify with the common denominator, the pure consciousness. Then we will have love with every being. Then we will be able to experience harmony around us. When we lack love, we cannot experience harmony around us. Not possible. So we think the harmony is missing because of that person or this person, because of a group of people's behavior. No, it's to do with your inner identification. That is love. When you have love, even an object you treat as a being. When you have lust, even a being you treat as an object. Isn't it? You love your home. So what do? You love your house. So you name it. Vrindavan. Crescent. Isn't it? You give it a name. It's not a being, but you are giving it a name. Arjuna's bow was called as Gandiva. Isn't it? Arjuna named it as Gandiva. Or whoever named it. It has a name. Gandiva. It is just an object, but he loves it so much. Therefore, when you love even an object, it gets escalated to the level of a being. Now, when you approach a being with lust, with attachment, with selfishness, you downgrade that being to an object. You look at a being, a chicken, tasty, tasty, object. I can get pleasure out of it. You understand? So, love is capable of converting even an object into a being. Lust and attachment reduces even a being to an object. So when a person relates with another with attachment, it is preferential. It's not universal. Love is universal. Attachment is preferential. And when a person relates with another with attachment, it is conditional. As long as you please me, as long as you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I say I love you. The day you are a threat to my interest, I hate you. That is why we have all this, what is it called? Killing? Honor killing. There is nothing honorable about it. I don't know why they call it honor killing. You understand? That daughter, he loves so much, till the day she said, I have fallen in love with this boy, and who belongs to a lower community or something like that. Then, nothing doing. You can't get married to him. Somehow she gets married to him, she will be killed. It's called honor killing. Is this love? Can this be love? It's conditional. As long as you are catering to me, either directly or indirectly, I say I love you. The day the catering stops, I hate you. In fact, when I've been claiming to love you, I've only been loving myself. A narcissist mentality. Only me, nothing else. That is attachment. You understand? So we have to rise above it by gaining this knowledge. Without this knowledge, obviously we'll have this. See, when we are ignorant, we will be attached. And we will think that attachment to be love. But when we gain this knowledge, we will understand what is true love. Then we will be able to implement it in our life. And when we implement it, we start seeing the benefits. Then the next level, intellectual level. At the intellect level, the third element of right living. What is that? What we have been discussing so far? What? Knowledge. And when we say knowledge, Adi Shankara gives a very interesting definition. What is knowledge? Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara means what? Enquiry. Vichara means enquiry. Discernment. Discernment between what? Nitya, eternal, Anitya, ephemeral. Permanent, impermanent. Real, unreal. What is real? What is unreal? What is eternal? What is ephemeral? We need to understand that. So when we analyze, Shastras say, when you were a small child, you said, I am a child. Then after a few years, you said, I am a young man. Then after a few years, you said, I am an old man. Child is different from the young man. Young man is different from the old man. The desires are different. Many things are different. Right? So, but I remains the same. So, body keeps changing. Mind keeps changing. Intellect keeps changing. Isn't it? Your likes and dislikes changes. Your ideas and ideology changes. Last election I voted to this party because that time I was this side. This election, this side. Next election I don't know. Maybe both sides. Because ideas keeps changing. Right? Everything is changing. But the I remains constant without changing. Similarly, in the waking state, you say, I am a waker. In the dream state, you say, I am a dreamer. In the deep sleep state, you say, I am a deep sleeper. The waker's experience is different. In the waking state, you may be a rich person. In the dream, you may be dreaming that you are a poor person. Or, in the waking state, you may be married. And the dream, you will be dreaming that you are unmarried. Usually it happens, isn't it? When you are married in the waking state, you dream that you are unmarried. If you are not married in the waking, then you will dream that you are married. Different experiences, but I continues to be the same. Therefore, what Vedanta says is, the I, which is the Sakshi Chaitanya. What is that? Witnessing consciousness. Witnessing all this. You understand? Mind is witnessing the perceptions and actions. And intellect is witnessing the mind. And there is beyond the intellect, there is this consciousness witnessing everything. What in the 13th chapter he calls it as Upadrashta. Upadrashta. Sitting inside and witnessing everything. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatma. He says. So the first word is Upadrashta, which means what? Sitting inside, witnessing. The consciousness sitting inside, witnessing everything is your real self. That is eternal. That is permanent. Everything else is impermanent. Therefore, don't run after the impermanent aspects. Identify with the permanent aspects, and for transactional purpose, you contact the world. You understand? Like a child holds on to a pillar or a post and then swings herself around. Have you seen that? As children, we have done that also, isn't it? You hold around a pillar and then you roam around, take a round. Like, in the movies they show, the hero is romancing with the heroine. He does all that. You understand? So like that, you got to hold on to the truth and then contact the world in the spirit of service and sacrifice with true love, identifying only with the eternal and not with the ephemeral. So, in the 16th verse of chapter 2 of the Gita, Sri Krishna gives a very, very famous shloka. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhavo vidyate sataha, ubayoropi drishtontaha, tvanayos tastva darshibihi. The unreal has no existence. See, when you say horns of a man, does it exist? Doesn't exist. So unreal never exists. The real never ceases to be. The definition of reality is what? That which existed in the past, exists now, will continue to exist in future. So when you say real, means it has to exist in all periods of time. So you subject all your experiences, waking, dream, deep sleep, anything. Does it stand the test of reality? It doesn't. Therefore what? It is not real. Can you call it unreal? You cannot call it unreal. Why? Now you are experiencing it. In the waking state, you are experiencing the waking world. How can you call it unreal? So can it be partly real, partly unreal? Reality and unreality cannot coexist. So then what? They coin a very different name. What? Mithya. Mithya means what? Mithya means dependent, incidental reality. Satya means independent reality. Mithya means dependent, incidental reality. Satya can exist without Mithya, but Mithya cannot exist without Satya. For example, the ornaments can exist without gold or not? It cannot. Ornaments are Mithya. Isn't it? Then the forms are Mithya. But the gold can exist without being converted into ornaments. That is Satya in this example. Don't go about saying gold is Satya. So, Satya, Mithya, they teach us. Then what do they want us to do? Identify with that Satya. So they say the truth about these indeed has been seen by the seers of the truth. So the goal of life is what? To identify with the self and function. Then when we constantly identify with the self, we become the self. As you think, so shall you become. If you identify with the body, you become physical. If you identify with the mind, you become emotional. If you identify with your intellect, you become intellectual. But if you identify with your spirit, the pure consciousness, you become Brahman, complete. You understand? Therefore, what they are trying to teach us through these elements of right living is, every day sit and reflect on the Shastras given by the Guru. The best Guru Dakshana we can give to the Guru. Guru doesn't want any Dakshana, strictly speaking. Only one Dakshana which is very difficult. What? Your ego. Chit chora yashoda ke bal, navanita chora gopal. We sing that bhajan. Chit chora. He steals away your stupid thoughts. Understand? And establish you in reality. Nothing else. That's the best Guru Dakshana we can give to the Guru. So on this day of Guru Purnima, when we are paying our gratitude to the Guru Parampara, we are reminding ourselves that we will identify with the Atma, the self and function. Which means what? We will study the scriptures every day, early hours of the day, in the morning, between 4 and 6, Brahma Muhurta time. Right? We'll sit and study, reflect, question, understand, then develop love and go about serving the world. Nara Seva, Narayana Seva. Understand? The best way to serve God is to serve the beings. You understand? So when we incorporate this, then we are incorporating the elements of right living in our life. So at the body level, service. 3 elements of right living. At the body level, service. Mind level, love. Intellect level, knowledge. So first, you got to exercise your buddhi in the early hours of the day, gain the knowledge of the self, then expand your heart with love. Your head should contact the knowledge, and when the knowledge goes in, it burns up the ego, then your personality expands with love. Right? Then your hands will be stretched out in service. 3H. Take away. I'm a Swiggy boy. Understand? I have to give you something to take away. What is that? Your head should be in connection, in contact with the knowledge on a daily basis, then your heart will expand with love. Then only your hands will stretch out in service. When this happens, you will achieve all that you are seeking. What? Freedom, happiness, peace, prosperity, security, harmony, everything. You understand? Therefore, on this day of Guru Purnima, we are reminding ourselves of these fundamental elements of right living. With that, we all pay our gratitude to the Guru Parampara. And now, this evening, my Guruji, Swami Parthasarthi, is giving a lecture. He's giving meaning he's already given it. It's a recorded lecture that will be there on YouTube. You know, it will be it's there on YouTube, no? From 7 p.m., right? 7 p.m. So Rajiv ji will put the details. Can you put the details? So fate versus free will. Swamiji is lecturing on fate versus free will. He is 97 years old. He had certain issues with his legs. Now, thanks to doctors, he is feeling much better. So he's come back to the ashram, right? All that he's been doing is giving us only knowledge. Every time you go to him, you will only ask one thing. Are you studying? You understand? Are you studying? Nothing else he asks. Are you studying? So today evening, please listen to that lecture by Swamiji on fate versus free will. Let's conclude now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om.